Empowering Seniors, and I'm Rita Daisy Orcutt. As you know, this program is about seniors who bring a quality to their lives and their community. And today you're going to meet the most outrageous lady I've ever heard of. Her name is Dr. Ruth Harriet Jacobs. You probably have seen her in the newspaper and heard about her. But she says, I'm acting my age and I've earned every gray hair. She's 82, a scholar at Wellesley College, author of 9 books. And at Wellesley College, I almost forgot now, this is not good. She is at the Wellesley Woman Center. She still teaches at Regis and Brandeis at the Lifetime Learning Center. And I welcome Ruth Harriet Jacobs, Ph.D. I said it.
Good to be here, Rita.
Thank you so much for being on my program.
Well, I love the title. We seniors should sizzle.
Yes.
We should not be quiet and passive.
Right. You know, it's almost as though there are guidelines out there that are supposed to be for seniors that we're supposed to live up to. We can make our own, can't we, Ruth?
Yes. In fact, I'm wearing a T-shirt that says outrageous older woman.
Yes.
And I divide the word in outrageous into 3 syllables. Outrage us. Coming out of rage because we get our needs met and we assert ourselves and we fight the ageism where people think us invalid. They see age and they think Alzheimer's, and they forget that most of us are wise. Many of us were moms, for example,
yes.
M-O-Ms, but now in our old age, we women are wows. We turned mom upside down to wow.
Oh, I love
Wonderful old women, wise old women, witty old women, women of wisdom.
Oh, I can't write fast enough. Women of wisdom. Oh,
and men are wise, too, in their later years. The trouble is there aren't enough men around. They die on the average 6 years sooner than women, and men tend to marry women substantially younger than themselves.
Oh.
So most women who are married end up as widows, and the world of the old is pretty much an outrageous ladies' lodge. This is my outrageous ladies' lodge buttons, and maybe I could tell people what my other buttons say.
Please do. Please do.
I'm a walking advertisement for aging when I'm wearing this T-shirt, and it's a good thing I have a large chest, so I have room for all the buttons. This one says, youth is a gift of nature. Aging is a work of art.
Oh, it is.
When we get older, we have to work a little harder to be interesting. The average person over 65 has 5 little things wrong with them physically, but people don't want to hear about it.
Oh, no.
They don't want to hear about your symptoms. This one says, the best age is the age that you are now. This says rasp.
I like that one.
Yeah, well, Be an Outrageous Older Woman, which is one of my 9 books, the subtitle is RASP, which stands for Remarkable Aging Smart Person, or Ravishing Aging Sexy Person, or in view of the war and the way many of us feel about the government, Radical Aging Stressed Person. And this one says, how old are you? I always tell people I'm 82, and I try to dissuade people from lying about their ages. I've written a play, it's called Happy Birthday, about a woman who's 80, and her daughter runs a surprise party for her, and she's angry because she doesn't want anybody to know she's 80. But by the end of the play, her daughter and the guests have considered the situation and decided that it's fine to be aging. This says choose hope. We can't have a good old age if we have good resources and we're know about how to manage. This one says, how dare you presume I'd rather be younger. This says, I am acting my age. This says, I like older women. I also like older men, but there aren't any around that are available. This says, I earned every gray hair. This one says, getting better with age. It's interesting in the United States, Rita, that people like old wine, they like old cheese, but they don't always, and furniture, yes.
Antique furniture?
Yeah, and vintage clothing.
Vintage clothing, yes.
But they don't always like old people. So we have to fight that. This button says, I've survived damn near everything.
Oh, that's so cute.
By the time we get to our ages, we have, and we know how to manage, and we know how to help others manage. This says, I've stopped lying about my age. This one says, I'm not over the hill, I'm on a roll. And this says, better over the hill than under it. And this one says, superstition number 40, that life begins at 40. Life can begin at any age. In my creative writing classes at Brandeis and Regis, I have people who never wrote much except, letters, notes for their kids when they were absent from school, checks, grocery lists. And they're writing marvelous things in their old age because they are wise and they're witty. This says, enjoy your age. You might as well, because the alternative to aging is not good. This says, I've got potential. They're always patting kids on the head and saying, you have potential. We have potential in our later years to do new things. You know, Rita, I never was a craft person. I have 2 left thumbs, and I just never did anything. And recently at the senior center in Wellesley, a woman ran a crafts class, and so I went.
Oh.
And my daughter said, you doing crafts? Well, I went and I made these bracelets to match my outrageous T-shirt.
Oh, no, it's cute.
And
It's so cute.
I had so much fun doing it. We have to do new things that we never did before. In fact, this is a leaf that my daughter gave me for Mother's Day last year. And my theme is, we have to turn over a new leaf in our old age.
I agree.
I sometimes do a hat show for people. It's not a style show. Each hat is symbolic. And one of the hats is a patchwork quilt hat I bought. Beautiful.
Oh.
And the theme of that is that in our life we have many patches, some good, some bad.
Yes.
And in old age, we have to add new patches, sometimes get rid of some of the patches.
Get rid of the bad ones?
Yeah, and add new ones.
Add new ones.
Switch them around. This one says, I'm a good old thing.
That is so cute.
And this one says, I'm here to tell the story. I encourage older people to write their memoirs.
I'm starting to do that.
Oh, good for you, Rita. In fact,
Like I mentioned, I'm up to where we chased the pigs in the cemetery. So
oh,
that was a good place to start.
How old were you then?
9 or 10.
Oh, wonderful.
We had 2 pigs, and my father, it was Depression era, and so they would do anything for food, So he raised these pigs, and they got to be 600 pounds.
Oh, my.
Oh, Ruth, it isn't easy chasing 2 600 pounds. My mother, who was a 90-pound weakling most of her life, and 3 little kids behind her. We finally got them back in the pen, but that's as far as I got. But
Well,
I thought chasing them in the cemetery
if you
was the
happen
best
to
fun.
be free, or any of your native viewers are free, in July I'm teaching a writing course, including memoir writing, at the Wellesley Senior Center. And it's predominantly for people who live in Wellesley, but Natick is very close. And
Yeah,
if there's space, you can call the Wellesley Council on Aging, and it's free. It will be every Monday in July from 1 to 3. And I've been doing it for a number of years in July because during the academic year I'm
You don't have time.
busy with speaking dates and so on.
Right.
And I get a wonderful group, so if anybody's watching and you'd like to start writing your memoir or something else, call the Wellesley Council on
Yeah, I just want to
Aging
repeat that. Call the Wellesley Council on Aging
to register.
to register.
To see if there's space.
Right.
And this button says Successful Aging, which I help people to do. And I think
Aging to perfection.
Aging to Perfection. I think I've got most of the buttons.
You have. You've got quite a few there. But, you know, I saw something in your newspaper write-up, the word hatitude. Hatitude.
Yes.
Did I say it right? Hatitude.
Yes.
Yeah.
In my hat collection, one of the, well, I carry my hats when I go to speak in a big garbage bag. That's how many I have.
Oh.
And one of them is from the Red Hat Society. And instead of, and it's red, it has red feathers on it. Instead of attitude, it says hatitude, because the Red Hatters express their attitude by wearing red hats. I've spoken to a lot of the Red Hat Societies, various places, and in fact here on the platform I have a red hat bag.
Oh, it's cute.
That
I like that.
yeah, shows a lady. I'm kind of responsible for the Red Hat Society starting in the first place.
Here in Massachusetts?
No,
or
all over the world.
Oh, really?
Yes, there is a woman named Sandra Matz in California who put together a number of anthologies of poetry, and I had poems in some of her anthologies, one on women in sports and so on. And finally I said to her, Sandra, do an anthology on women in aging and use the poem, When I Am an Old Woman, I Will Wear Purple, with a red hat that doesn't match, and do all kinds of wonderful, crazy things. And so Sandra did it, because it was the stupidest thing I ever did in my life, because she made big money on that book and on the red hat T-shirts and all the things. But I was very busy at the time, teaching full-time. I was chair of the sociology department at Clark in Worcester and writing a book myself. So I told her to do it. And, of course, as a result of that book, the Red Hat Society started all over the country and all over the world. And Sandra paid me back because on the cover of my Be an Outrageous Older Woman book, she wrote a blurb: advice, ideas, humor, anecdotes, poetry, and warmth for women in the second half of life. Sandra Matz, editor of When I'm an Old Woman, I Shall Wear Purple. So she paid me back by helping me sell this book,
that's nice.
which has gone through 3 editions so far.
That's great.
Yeah, the latest publisher is HarperCollins, which is a big
one of
New
the
York
big-
publisher.
Yes.
Sometimes I have 9 books, and sometimes I've done business with small publishers. My latest book, the ABC's The Seniors,
Oh, you've got to quote some things.
Successful Aging Wisdom from an Outrageous Gerontologist, was brought out by a small publisher who is also a professor at Truman State College in Missouri, which is the honors college named after President Harry Truman. And I wish he were still president instead of what we have now.
Yeah.
You said I
like
should
it.
read something from here.
Yes, please
The first
read.
third of this starts with, the first third is verses in the style of Dr. Seuss and Mother Goose, one for each letter of the alphabet. And I think I will read a very short piece from the second one, which is B is for Boulder. B is for Boulder. When you get older, do what you want to do. Let nobody step on you. Don't do what you're told. Ignore messages sold. Be forceful and brave. Get out of your cave. Ride on a wave. Being old, you're bright and have second sight. If not now, when? Speak up again and again. And it goes on for another page, but in the interest of time. Turns out that one that people like the most is P is for pack rat. which a lot of older people are. And it's fairly long, so I won't read it all. But I go on and on talking about I start. Please, car, don't stop at garage sales. I already have bales and bales of garage sale stuff, which leaving behind was tough because prices were cheap. So my home already has a heap of trash I should keep. And then I go on for a number of verses talking about what a pack rat I am, and I end up saying, time to throw out, reform, retreat. Being clutter-free would be sweet. It would be nice to be neat, but there's a garage sale down the street.
I couldn't help that one. I think that's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have, and you know, you have a marble story I read someplace. Something about marbles.
Oh, well, I always tell older people to keep a few marbles in their pocket if it's a man, a pocketbook if it's a woman. So if people think you've lost your marbles, you can just take them out. Because as I said earlier, they see old-timer and they think Alzheimer, and they forget that we're just as bright as we ever were.
Absolutely.
And wiser because we've lived longer.
We're brighter.
Right.
We are much brighter.
Right.
If we choose to be.
Right.
Some people don't choose.
Well, you have to keep up. You have to read.
Yeah.
You have to think. You have to be active, and you have to take care of yourself physically. I swim every day. That's why my hair looks so terrible.
It looks
I
fine.
swim in an indoor pool, so I keep it shot and gets wild. But you have to have some kind of mental exercise, some kind of physical exercise. And I also write, in this Be an Outrageous Older Woman book, I have a whole chapter on how to make new friends, because we also have to have a social life. We have to have people we can talk to, people we can do things with. It's not good to be an isolated. And sometimes we have to make new relationships because our children grow up and move away.
Yes.
Our people die on us.
Yes.
And people move to Florida, Arizona, so we have to keep working at making new friendships. And when I do workshops for people, I do exercises that help them to find out how they can make new relationships and do new things.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. People really can take up new things. I'm teaching memoir writing at the Cape Cod Writers Conference the third week in August in Craigville. A lot of people who belong to the United Church of Christ know Craigville because it's their conference center, and it's perfectly beautiful.
I don't think I've been there.
With its own beach. And every year there are people who come there of all ages, but there are a lot of older people who come who are making new friends, finding new things to do. And
there's senior centers all over, but I know in Natick, they send you a booklet at the beginning of the month, and it's packed.
Rita, you folks in Natick are very fortunate because there are lots of activities at the senior center. In fact, although I live in Wellesley, and if you ever need to call me, folks, I'm in the phone book under R.H. Jacobs in Wellesley. I sneak into the Natick Senior Center, and I was there this morning before we taped this program.
You said you were going down.
Yeah, they have a wonderful pharmacist from the Mass School of Pharmacy who comes in once a month, and he talks about diseases that we get and medications we can take, and he brings his students, and they will even look over the list of people's meds to see if there are any that are contradicting. And they have a wonderful woman named Deborah who runs the programming for them, and your folks are very lucky. I know you want to build a bigger senior center, and I wish you luck in that, but right now, with the space they have, they're doing marvelous things.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I speak at a lot of senior centers, and I want to tell people that you can go to any senior center, even if you don't happen to live in the town, because they all get some state money and some federal money, and they're welcoming. And if you see something nice at the Wellesley Senior Center, like my writing course, or you see something at the Weston Senior Center, or the new Framingham Callahan Center.
That's a beautiful building.
It's a beautiful building. You can go to that. In fact, yesterday I was at the Callahan speaking to the Red Hat Society there, and they have lovely programming there. So you can keep busy. In fact, I met at one senior center at the lunch a woman who gets the bulletins from all the senior centers, and most of them list what's going to be on lunch that day. And she lives alone. She doesn't like to cook. And so she goes to a different senior center every day, depending on who has the kind of lunch she likes.
I never heard of that one.
Yeah, and she also goes to activities while she's there, and she makes a life out of it. A lot of people have a prejudice against senior centers. They think that they just play bingo. That was years ago.
Oh, yes, not now.
In fact, in my ABCs of Aging, for C I have councils of aging, which run the senior centers. I love councils on aging and find it very engaging when seniors stay home alone instead of picking up the phone to discover what is going on and finding a new dawn with friendly peers, enjoying their later years. And there's another page or two about councils on aging, but I won't take the time to read it.
Right.
Yeah, they're great.
You've got to read that special page on P, is it? P or S? L. L.
Oh,
Or the
yes.
L one.
Well, this is X-rated.
Okay, this
But
is
I think-
X-rated, so
I think your
don't
readers
put your
can
fingers in
stand
your
it.
ears while you listen to this now.
It gets more X-rated as it goes along, but I won't probably take the time to read the whole thing. L is for love, including sex, sometimes ruined by medical treks that prescribe drugs harming libido. That is not the way to go. Losing desire or erection may plunge you into dejection. Should that happen, don't be shy. Speak up. Ask your physician why you can't take a different pill that won't preclude sexual thrill. Old age sex can be sweet unless you so fear defeat that you won't even try and pass opportunity by, having absorbed age's jokes that ridicule sex of older folks. And it goes on for another page. We don't lose our need for intimacy and for sexual gratification.
No, I mean,
Sometimes we lose our partners, though.
that's the sad part.
That's the sad part.
And sometimes you can lose them even though they're not really have passed on and become emotionally incapable, different ways of losing a partner. So, it's sad.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, I want to live your kind of life, Ruth. I want to live that kind of life. I want to be out there doing something for somebody, for myself.
It feels really good to help people. And
Love that.
Yeah. And my job is to know what the resources are and to help people change their attitudes.
Change their attitude. I like that.
And to find out the good times they can have. And I don't deny that there are illnesses that happened. I have osteoporosis. And really the reason I have a bad case of it was that 10 years ago I had a brain tumor. And I had blood clots as a result, and I was given medication that caused the osteoporosis, and I had some breaks. And I have balance troubles because when I had my brain opened, what they call a craniotomy, and the tumor taken out, and I'm lucky it could be taken out, I was left with a little imbalance, and I can walk, but I can't play tennis anymore. I can't.
But you're alive.
I
You're
can't
vital.
do some of the long walks I used to do.
It's okay.
But I swim, as I said, every day. So there's a way of substituting, compensating, making new choices, and people have to learn that as they age. Sometimes they have to change their diets. They have.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I go to the gym.
Good for you. Yeah.
3 times a week, and I do cardio, and I do, I don't know. My daughter is a trainer, so she got me on a regime down there, and I love going down. I've met people down there. I've brought people on the set here from there. There was a gentleman, 88, who was the oldest gym member, and he came on the set with me. He was a joy to have.
Wonderful. And because people at the Natick Senior Center here get exercises, they have a bowling group, not bowling, excuse me, what is it?
Volleyball.
Volleyball group. And they can do that sitting.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And there's a wonderful woman named Steffi Shapiro who goes around to various senior centers, and she does yoga for people, 2 kinds. One when they have to stand and so on, and then she does an easy yoga where people can just sit in their chairs.
What kind of yoga?
Easy.
Oh, easy.
A sitting yoga.
I thought you said easy.
No,
what
easy.
kind of yoga is that? Easy.
Yeah. And they do move their hands and their legs and their heads, and they get exercise and they get relaxed. So there's always, even pretty frail people can do that. And some seniors like to do Tai Chi. So there's various ways of getting physical exercise and lots of ways of getting mental exercise.
Yeah, I like the mental exercise, too.
I bought a T-shirt at the garage sale, pack rat that I am, for 50 cents that a woman told me that had been her husband's. He didn't like being forced to retire, but he bought a T-shirt that said, "Don't ask me to do anything, I'm retired." And he sat on the couch all day and watched television and ate potato chips and pretzels.
Oh, my gosh.
And anything she would cook for him, and gobbled junk food and got heavy and lethargic, and he had a heart attack. And so we have to keep active.
We do.
Yeah.
You know,
every time I look at that T-shirt.
I look at my mother, when my mother was alive, and she died at 95. But when she retired from work at 65, that's what she did.
Yeah.
She ate some junk food. But she was always a little person. So she fortunately lived longer, but she just liked to sit and watch TV.
Yeah. And a lot of
people
do.
I'm so sorry. We've had such a good time here. It's time to say goodbye, Ruth.
Oh, I'm
but
sorry,
not
too. I'm sorry,
Not forever.
too.
I'm going to be looking forward to looking at your book.
Okay.
And I'm so thankful that you came to be with me today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And I love Natick. I
It's
really
a great
I spend time here. I eat here.
And
I
I
shop
just want to
here.
remind everybody, get out there and hug a senior. Make their day.
And hug yourself.
Hug yourself. Yes. I would call somebody on the phone and say, take your left arm